I've got a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much it would cost to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. If you haven't watched my video about the history of Galaxian, then you may be unaware of the marvel that is Galaxian 3. Or Galaxian Cubed? Not entirely sure. Originally a 1990s theme park attraction at the International Garden and Greenery Exposition, Galaxian Cubed, or 3, was not one, not two, but a 28-player co-op rail shooter. Players would be sat in a circular structure as they operated gun controllers shooting wherever they could see, as the structure itself also moved to simulate space battle. Much as I would love to try the 28-player cabinet, or the 16-player, or even the 6-player version, I will have to be stuck with the 4-player PS1 version, which obviously won't be a 100% accurate recreation, but it's the best I could do. Though, to be fair, if I played the 28-player version, I'd probably end up just playing it alone anyway. What I also need to mention here is that there is going to be a first for the series, where I play and tally 2 games in one video. Attack of the Zolgear was the sequel but plays near identical to the prequel, so instead of making 2 videos where I repeat myself to appease the overlord that is the algorithm, I'll just cover them both here and tally them individually at the end. Which did leave me with a bit of a problem. How do I decide how much it would have, theoretically, cost to play and complete it? The size of the cabinet would have made a difference. The 28-player one would have cost maybe about £5 a go, or maybe free at the cheapest, and then the 16-player would have been cheaper than that. But I decided to go with the 6-player pricing, as it's closest to the replication that I will be playing, and Attack of the Zolgear was created as a conversion kit for the 6-player cabinet. So this is probably the most accurate way I'll be able to do it, meaning that both of these games we will be playing with £1 a credit. In both games, you play an ace gunner aboard the massive space attack ship Dragoon, as they fight back an alien threat. In Project Dragoon, they are known as the Unknown Intellectual Mechanized Species, or the UIMs? I don't know, those. Welcome to the episode where I can't read for shit. Inspired by Emperor Palpatine, the UIMS have a giant laser called the Seed Cannon which they plan to Alderaan the Earth with. Your mission is to board the Millennium Falcon, fly deep into the Death Star and destroy its power core to stop it being operational. Oh wait, sorry. Board the Dragoon, fly deep into the Seed Cannon, and destroy its power core to stop it being operational. Do you feel the pressure yet? Well, maybe the upbeat 80s action music during the briefing will help you get pumped to save the Earth.
敵軍ウィムズの対惑星兵キャノンシードの完成がいよいよ近づいていることが判明した監視衛星はキャノンシードの照準がまさに地球に向けられているという報告を伝え破壊されてしまった
When players are ready, the game starts. If you're wondering, no, that's not a mark on your screen. That's the line where the footage would split on the curved screen in the 28-player model. I could be wrong on this, but I suspect that's because they tried to put 2 separate videos together to make it look like one, as the original hardware ran 2 different laserdiscs at the same time to create the huge level backgrounds. On the subject of the laserdisc footage, the game starts with a video sequence of the Dragoon taking off, and it looks, for the time, pretty good. This is pretty advanced stuff for the 90s, and probably the best looking 3D thing of 1990 as well. So the way this works would be that the laserdisc would play footage, and then when enemies appear, they're on a separate layer which makes them interactive, and you're able to shoot them without destroying anything in the background. And much like the old cartoons, you can tell what you can shoot because it stands out in quality from the background. The now dated 3D enemies do have that flat polygon look to them, but it's still effective in portraying the action of a full-scale battle well, and a lot of different style enemies can be spotted even if they don't offer much in terms of attack variety. It's a style made by limitation and not by choice, which was used to great effect when creating some of the most iconic titles ever during that decade. But very few of them made an entire interactive sequence that's about 10 minutes long to play. But as you may have guessed, the graphics are far from perfect. A few chroma keyed explosions and a slight jitter as it loads in conditional sequences hurt the immersion a little, and some of the colours can mess with your eyes, making it hard to keep track of your target cursor. Well, at least it's better than this shit we get now. The game's audio capabilities felt like they had the least effort put into them. The music is hushed and can be drowned a fair amount out by your laser shots. If you can actually hear it, the music sounds a lot like what you would hear in an old sci-fi anime. As for the voice acting, that's louder than the music, but as you may have guessed, as it is a game originating from Japan in the 90s, the acting isn't so great. Either they hired crappy actors to save money, or no context was given to the actors, so they just had to hope their inflections were on point. Or maybe it's a bit of both. As a result, it sounds cheesy and only one take.
And then come up just in front of them. Now, up, up.
Now entering the enemy's defensive position.
Stay low and attack the cannon.
So visually, it's stunning. The music's okay, and the voice acting is bare minimum. What about the game itself? Well, it's kind of 30-70. Yes, it's fun shooting down squads of aliens as they fly around the screen, or destroying a structure by pummeling it with continuous laser fire. But as I kept playing, it did feel like it was designed to be winnable only if a certain number of players were involved. Out of what little mechanics it has, most are against the player. Your means of attack is a laser that can kill the alien ships in 2 or 3 hits and has unlimited ammo. But that's it. No power-ups of any kind can be collected, so the tactic of ABS will be your only way of playing the game. Your energy bar is your health. If it drains to 0, then you die, and it's shared between all players. Here's the kicker: there's no way to refill the energy bar. No power-ups, no checkpoints, no extra lives, no inserting a coin for more energy. You need to play from start to finish on 1 life bar and hope you shoot enough enemies to reduce how much damage you take overall, while also hoping you can destroy the Death Star siege cannon on your first try, else it's all the way back to the beginning. What stood out the most was the difficulty. Like I implied, a high number of players meant that you had a better chance of winning. Enemy shots can't be avoided, so forced damage will always be a problem. A single player will not be able to cover the entire screen of all the enemies, and will receive more damage when compared to a bigger team who can cover a bigger area. As a result, smaller teams are almost guaranteed to lose unless dumb luck be a lady tonight. So while the game continues in one endless loop, you can sort of split it up into 4 different sections. But there were elements within these sections that further added strength to my suspicions about the game being highly reliant on player numbers to achieve victory. As you fly through the level, the crew will shout out orders that serve as bonus objectives for extra points. The first is to destroy an outpost. Easy enough, it's a stationary target, just blast it until it's gone. Then you encounter a battleship and need to destroy its exposed exhaust ports, or whatever these are, to blow it up. Slightly harder as they require a few shots to destroy, and the camera speed might mean that you don't get enough hits on a few of them as a solo player. Then comes the mothership. To beat the mothership you need to destroy the power core, but even with 3 players, it wasn't enough to destroy it, and we lost out on bonus points. I don't see how I should get punished for trying a task I was forced into with a piss-weak weapon that the game gave me, where the only way I could win was not be lonely. Should you make it to the seed cannon, you first have to fly through a duct to reach the core, where you're going to experience more bullshittery. As you can see, blast doors are closing. 2 players aren't enough to destroy the doors before we reach them, leaving us no choice but to get bonked 3 times and lose a total of 5 energy by the time we reach the power core. Now that might not seem like a lot, but when you only have 1 life to live, those 5 points could have made all the difference. In the core, 5 power relays spin like synchronized swimmers and you have to destroy all of them. The catch? For every 1 that gets destroyed, the remaining speed up. As before, damage continues to be thrown at you, but what makes it worse is that one of your crew members will begin a countdown timer before the cannon fires. Admittedly, that does make the situation more intense, but this is also another situation where if there are not enough players, you don't have a high enough damage output and you lose. Playing this with Akka and one of our close friends Yuki, we almost had it. So I thought it was only going to be possible if I could find a team of 4, which in my case was very unlikely. I tried it again with someone else, but through what I can only describe as dumb luck, that thing that usually hates me, a friend and I were able to complete the game with 2 seconds to spare with just a team of 2. I don't know how we did it, but I guess we just hit the right enemies at the right time. The cannon is destroyed and the Dragoon returns home triumphant. Until 2 years later, when the Dragoon is called upon again to fight a new alien threat known as the Zolgear. And I wasn't lying when I said this was near identical. No pickups, the same weapon, a launch sequence, destroy a ship via the exhaust port, hard to destroy power source, a planet section to fly along, turrets to blow up, a vent to fly through, synchronized swimmer relay to destroy. Virtually a copy and paste. Though I will say that the graphics have improved a lot as there is now detail on the enemy ships, and the background has a smoother frame rate. The voice acting has more enthusiasm, if still sounding a little forced and out of sync with the action at times, with one actor I thought sounded like Frank Welker.
Receiving very strong energy readings from the near central ship.
Fighters, we are to destroy the central ship. This is an all-out attack.
The weirdest part about this one was that, as opposed to Project Dragoon, my friend and I were able to complete this one first try. Was it easier, or luck again? I honestly have no idea, but I'll take the win. Both of the Galaxian Cubed free titles are, in terms of the PlayStation, okay games. I imagine playing the 28-player arcade machine, or even the 16-player arcade machine, would be a much better experience. But by playing this one, it does seem pretty clear that it's going to be a milker game that was against you from the very start, with nothing you could do skill-related to try and counter its horseshit. Playing the PS1 port isn't anything exciting. It might be fun for a bit, but it's not going to last. Clearly the appeal comes from the machine that housed the game, and that's what made it popular. Now don't get me wrong, I'd still love to try the actual hardware one day, but the game without the machine isn't nearly as great to play or impressive to look at, and its reliance on multiple players hurts the experience as much as it hurts my theoretical wallet. How much did it hurt exactly? Let's take a tally. Assuming a 6-player machine prices, I attempted Project Dragoon with a 3-person team, then again with a 2-person team and succeeded, costing a total of 5 credits and pounds to complete, making it one of the cheapest titles to complete. Zolgear, with the same pricing, took 1 attempt with 2 players and resulted in just 2 credits and pounds being spent, making it the cheapest title on the board. Altogether, completing them both cost £7 and 7 credits, meaning the grand totals are now £1,062.50 and 1,269 nice credits. And that was Galaxian free or cubed, I honestly don't know. Join me next time where whoever wins, we all lose.